Every scene is basically, please love me, please forgive me, hire me, believe me, or text me back. Congratulations, you now understand human civilization. Today, we're talking about one of the most important acting shifts actors can make. You are not there to present emotion, you are there to get something. This is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting actors cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
Well, hello and welcome back to Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeff Dreisbach, and today we're discussing a major acting shift, one that completely changed how I began teaching actors. Actors often believe acting is primarily about emotional presentation. But over the years, and working with actors in both classrooms and auditions and callbacks and in casting rooms, I kept noticing something. The actor who consistently felt most believable were usually trying to get something from another human being, not show emotions, not perform intensity. They were pursuing. That changes everything. We're going to continue on this subject, but first, this is that moment where I get to say thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I am so grateful that you are here today. Hey, listen, if you haven't done so already, please check out the website, castingactorscast, all one word.com. There you're going to find a form that says dive into the talent pool. And if you do that, that's going to open up a whole bunch of freebies for you, a book on doing voiceover work, a video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. Also, my new book release is out, as well as you can get an ebook copy, or you can even get the audiobook. I do the audiobook as well. Yours truly. Wow, that was a fun experience. But the reason I have the podcast, the reason I have the website is to help actors feel more comfortable and more confident in this business, in the environment of what it is to be a professional actor. So if you really want to get a little more confident, if you really want to get some more information to feel a little bit better about the work that you're doing, I have the message, and I would really appreciate some comments by giving me a thumbs up. Perhaps you would consider subscribing. Also, a review on YouTube. A review on YouTube would be great. But also, I was thinking, you know, it would be really great to get a review on iTunes. That is sort of the holy grail of reviews. And it also ups my ranking, which, of course, something I really, really would love to be able to continue. I'm on an upward track and I want to keep that going. So please help me out. So if this podcast has helped you out in any way, please just take a moment, would you? It would mean a lot. Thanks so much. All right, let's jump back into it. Human beings want things. That's the name of this particular section. And I know that sounds obvious, but actors sometimes forget it. Understand that real people constantly want things: recognition, acceptance, control, love, forgiveness, attention, reassurance. And when human beings cannot get those things, behavior appears. That's drama. That's conflict. Guess what? That's acting. And one of the biggest actor misconceptions is this: actors believe emotion is the starting point, but often emotion is the result of behavior. Okay, somebody write that down. This is the core principle of what I'm trying to talk about. Emotion is the result of behavior. So let me give you an example. If I desperately need someone to stay, in other words, they want to leave, I want them to stay, my attempts to stop them create emotional life. Now, suddenly, When that happens, urgency appears, fear appears, vulnerability appears, frustration appears, not because I played sadness, but because I needed something. You know what? I needed them to stay. So that's why many, many times the actor will say, well, I should start the scene out by feeling sad. That is kind of, in my mind, the wrong way to approach it. We're going to talk about some very specifics coming up in just a second, but here's some real casting room truth. Actors pursuing something are almost always watchable, more watchable than actors presenting emotion, because pursuit creates movement. And movement, well, movement creates life. Now, moving on from there, I have to tell you that the other person matters, and actors sometimes accidentally perform at scenes, meaning they become very self focused. It's all about them. But acting is relational. The other person in your scene matters enormously. If the other person is not affecting you, if you are not affecting them, the scene often feels disconnected. Now, this is why listening matters so much. Not acting listening, but actual listening. I can't tell you how many times in class I really want the actor to spend more time with the other. In other words, there oftentimes is this internal mechanism that keeps you focused on you rather than being focused on the other. And that's the major exercise that I try to instill on actors, especially in an audition environment where you have a reader. The more attention and focus you give the reader, the more interesting the scene. Why? Because honestly, the scene is never about you, ever. Make it about the other. Do they understand you? Do they get you? Did you make them feel something? Then, and only then, do you have a really interesting electric scene happening. Coming up next, we're going to talk about obstacles, and obstacles absolutely create drama. We're going to cover that right after this. Welcome back. Now, here's where acting becomes exciting, in my opinion. If getting what you need was easy, there would be no scene, no obstacle, no tension, no behavior. Obstacles create pressure. Obstacles create adjustment or tactics or emotional shifts. And actors who understand obstacles, guess what? They stop playing moods. Instead, they begin fighting for something. They begin fighting for something. And guess what? That's compelling. That is basic, simple human truth. One of the reasons audiences connect to behavior-driven acting is because it feels familiar. We recognize it. Why? Because we've all hidden pain. We've all tried to stay calm when it was crazy out there. We've all tried to pressure someone. We've all tried to avoid vulnerability. We've all wanted approval. Pretending to be okay is human behavior, and that is recognizable. And guess what? Recognition creates connection. Okay, somebody write that down. That was really good. Trying to be understanding and to be understood are two very distinct things. The difference is one is internal, the other external. And this is the shift that changes almost everything for actors. The moment you stop asking, how should I feel? And start asking, what am I trying to get? Suddenly, the acting becomes active, alive, specific, because human beings are always trying to affect other people. Always. Even when we pretend we're not. Think about real life. If somebody wants reassurance, we don't walk into a room thinking, I'm going to play anxiety now. No, they ask questions differently. They hover, they joke, they over-explain, they withdraw, they become defensive. They become charming, they become controlling. Behavior appears automatically because the need is alive. That's human behavior. And actors sometimes accidentally reverse the process. They start with emotion first. Now, the problem with that is that it creates performances that feel demonstrated instead of lived. You can see the actor trying to produce an emotional result. But great acting usually comes from pursuit, not presentation. And here's what's fascinating. The audience doesn't consciously think, oh, look at the objective work. They don't. They just feel engaged because pursuit creates movement. Behavior creates unpredictability, and unpredictability feels human. That's why audiences lean forward. They're subconsciously asking, will this person get what they want? They don't ask, will this actor successfully display sadness? That's a huge difference. And honestly, one of the biggest problems in acting training is that actors sometimes become emotionally self-conscious. They start monitoring themselves. Am I connected? Am I emotional enough? Am I believable? Should this moment feel bigger? Meanwhile, human beings are usually focused outward. They're trying to convince, avoid, protect, control, seduce, comfort, attack, deflect, survive. That outward focus changes everything on camera because now the actor's attention is no longer trapped inside themselves. It's connected to another human being. And you know what? The camera loves that. The camera loves pursuit. Because pursuit creates thought. Thought creates behavior. Behavior creates truth. And here's something actors rarely hear. You do not need to indicate emotion if the pursuit is clear. The emotion becomes the byproduct. For example, if your need is, please forgive me, that creates one kind of behavior. But if your need is, please don't abandon me, that's completely different behavior. Different pacing, different tension, different eye contact, different breath. Even if both scenes are technically sad. That's why behavior-driven acting becomes so specific. Emotion labels are broad. Human pursuit is precise. And precision is what makes performances feel real. Now, listen, this is how this becomes incredibly, becomes incredibly powerful in auditions. Why? Because I've seen it all the time. Actors think, I need to make this scene emotional. No, you need to make the need undeniable. That's what casting responds to. Not emotional volume, clarity of pursuit. Because the strongest audition usually feels something real is happening to the actor in real time, not something they prepared to show. And this often solves another major actor problem, predictability. Because actors who play emotion often make emotional decisions way too early. You can see the performance coming, but pursuit creates adjustment. And adjustment creates spontaneity. Because in real life, when we don't get what we want, what do? We change tactics. That's behavior. If charm doesn't work, we pressure. If pressure doesn't work, we might retreat. If retreat doesn't work, we might joke. If joking doesn't work, we'll probably attack. Human beings are constantly recalibrating behavior based on resistance. That's what makes scenes dynamic. And honestly, this is why listening becomes so important, because if you're truly trying to get something, you must pay attention to whether it's working. Now the other actor actually matters. Now you're affected. Now the scene becomes alive instead of rehearsed. And this is one of the reasons some technically trained actors still struggle on camera. They understand script analysis intellectually, but behaviorally, they remain frozen. Everything feels predetermined. But behavior-driven acting introduces volatility. Now, moments can shift. Now, interruptions matter. Now, silence matters. Now, failure matters, because failure changes behavior. And the best performances often happen when the actor stops controlling the outcome. That's where life sneaks in. As I like to do in every podcast, just about every podcast of recent time, because we've been doing these for quite a long time, is to give you a quick exercise to consider to help sort of solidify the point that I'm trying to make here. So this is today's exercise I'd love for you to try. I want you to take any scene, maybe not a recent scene, maybe something that you worked on a little while ago, perhaps, but it doesn't really matter. Now, I want you to answer these 3 questions. 1, what do I need? In other words, what does your character need? It can be need the other person to do something, need the other person to feel something. What is it that you are there for? Number 2, why can't I get it? See, that's understanding the obstacle. Why can't I get it? And then 3, what am I doing to try? What are the efforts that my character is making in order to effectuate questions 1 and 2? Ooh, effectuate, that's a good word. Think about those 3 questions. That alone may unlock the entire scene. Please remember this: acting is not emotional decoration. It is human behavior under pressure. And the more actors stop trying to manufacture feelings and start pursuing meaningful needs, the more truthful and compelling their work often becomes. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jeff Dreisbach. This is Casting Actors Cast. I want you to keep growing, keep listening, and remember, you are not there to present emotion. You are there to affect another human being. We'll see you next time.
From monologues to screen tests, to every episode, there's something new for you. Break down those walls, take off the mask. Join the journey with Jeffrey Dreisbach. Casting Actors Cast, what a show with Jeffrey Dreisbach.